Well, hey everyone, my name is Kevin DeWalt, founder of So Helpful, and here I'm with one of my favorite people today, Grace Ang from Javelin, who is going to talk to us a little bit about how she is helpful and how she used that as part of her strategy for helping figure out what customers want and for building the products. So, Grace, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
So, Grace, for those who aren't familiar with you and your awesome blog, UX CEO, can you just give us a quick background about yourself and Javelin and all the great work you guys are doing with the Lean Startup Machine events?
Yeah, so I'm co-founder of a company called Javelin, which is enterprise software and services for teams to run experiments on their ideas before actually building them. And our services arm is actually called Lean Startup Machine. So we run workshops around the world to help entrepreneurs apply the Lean Startup process to any of their ideas.
Excellent. Well, I will just consider myself sort of, I joke around with your one of the other co-founders, Trevor Owens, and say that I'm sort of a Lean Startup Machine deadhead. So I think I've mentored about 10 of them around the world. And
Yes.
what I tell everybody is it is the best way to learn Lean Startup. I can't tell you how many people have told me over the years I didn't understand until I went to Lean Startup Machine. And the fact that it happens over a weekend means that even people who are part-timers or busy can go and participate. So, this is just count me as a massive fan, which I have written about multiple times about how excited I am with you guys are doing. And so, congratulations on success to date with the events and the fact that they've grown so much, and also with the products you're working on. Well, great. Thanks a lot, Grace. So, can you tell us a little bit about how being with your customers as part of your strategy, like how you think about it, and how it fits into figuring out and getting insight for what your product should be?
Yeah, so all of the products that we've built is based on customer insights. So everything that we've done is based on customer insights, and even with Lean Startup Machine, it started off as a workshop, and then the customers, they loved it. They wanted to bring it to other cities. They told their friends about it, and then so it just really grew organically. And then with the software that we're building right now, it also came out of customer insights. Basically, they love the experience, they love the workshop, and they want to understand how they can apply it on a consistent basis, how they can bring it back to their own companies. And so we started creating tools to help them do that. So now we have two tools called Quick MVP and Experiments, which basically helps you run your experiments and test your ideas quickly and easily. And I continuously follow up with our users to really understand how they're using the tools, how they're using even in the workshops. Early on, when we were just doing workshops, I continuously followed up with alumni, with mentors, to understand what they got out of the experience, what they're looking for. And then now with our software, I do calls with them, do hangouts. I schedule my calls with So Helpful, and I do a lot of calls with them to really understand where they're at in their experimentation process. And I think especially with our experiment software tool, it's very important to really touch base with the customers and the users, because not just for product insights, but also for helping them out with their experimentation process. Because Lean Startup, it's still kind of tricky to get.
Yeah. And
there's still a lot of nuances that you need to keep practicing to get better at. And so, just reaching out and helping them along, it means a lot, and it's great to touch base with the people who love the product.
Okay, great, Grace. Let me just dig a little bit deeper in that to maybe help some of the other. There's a lot of people out there, especially building SaaS apps, small companies, myself included. So can you give me talk a little bit about what the nature of one of these conversations goes like? So you sort of make yourself available to help people out who are using your products to use them more effectively. When you talk with them, is it typical survey customer product feedback, or is it more strategic about how they're using the product in their work and how they're how they work through the day-to-day and how they're sort of operating?
Well, the interview would differ based on what I'm trying to learn and how early or where I am in my process of learning. So early on, if I'm doing more exploratory interviews about who are these people using it and why are they using it and how are they adjusting to it, and what kind of environment they're in when they're using it. It's a lot of questions around that. So basically, I make myself available. I ask some questions around, just to understand who they are, what they do on a day to
Mm-hmm.
day, what they hope to get out of the software, um, and and yeah, I usually go in with like three main objectives that I want to learn and get from that conversation, and I just ask questions around those.
And once you've sort of had kind of the face-to-face dialogue with them, I guess I'm thinking maybe somebody who's already sort of using the products and they're using your customer, they're, they've been to your events. Like, how does that change the nature of your relationship with them afterwards versus just sending them a survey or like how's their responsiveness to you and your products after you've kind of gone through and taken the time to talk to them face to face?
How's their responsiveness changed?
I guess what is the nature once you've had a conversation with somebody? I guess maybe I'm leading the question here too much. So I'll just completely lead it in that way, and in the interest of being clarity. So I think what some people seem to find is that once they've had that kind of dialogue with somebody, that afterwards those customers tend to be a lot more responsive, active using the product, more engaged, more the term I hear it is like once I have a conversation with someone how to use it, they become an evangelist. Do you experience that, or is it more really just about sort of getting insight for you on what you're doing?
Oh, I definitely experienced that. A lot of it's just great to put faces to the users of the application, and it's great to hear their stories and where they're coming from and the challenges that they're facing. And I still keep in touch with a lot of the early users that I interviewed, a year back, and they're still passionate about the process. And it's we touch base, and it's very yeah, it's just great to and myself as a user experience designer, it's great to build empathy, and a lot of times I actually turn them into personas if they are like the target person that I was looking for. I read up little stories about them, and it's and I kind of tack it up on I'm on wall, and I have their photo there, and it's great.
That's excellent. Well, you can't see my wall now, but I've got three right there, so on my wall as well. So so yeah, I experienced the same thing. It's amazing. There's one you can actually have like a conversation with somebody, and you really get a chance to dig in their insight. At least I find I understand their motivations more. And I mean, it can be the tone they use in their voice or how they say something, but it's nothing you get out of looking at data. I mean, data is great and analytics are great, but just nothing beats actually having someone tell you how they work and how they think about their day. Well, great, Grace. This is excellent. So, I guess sort of wrapping things up, you're obviously, I hope it comes as no surprise to the world that you guys not only teach people how to do lean startup and customer development, but you actually practice all this stuff yourself. So, for the entrepreneurs out there, let's just take somebody who sort of, has been to Lean Startup Machine, they followed your advice, they've done their customer interviews, now they have their application out there, and what I see with a lot of them is that they struggle to sort of get like insight from that. They've got some paying customers. They don't always can't get them to respond to their email. They've got people using it, but they're struggling to figure out what do I learn from this? What do I do next? What do I build? What do I not build? Who am I going after the right market? Like they're struggling with all these questions. What's your advice for entrepreneurs that are kind of in that situation?
Yeah, so basically if you do your interviews really early on, even before you even built out the product, that's really beneficial because you build that relationship and you build that trust with your potential users even before you actually go full into building your application. So in my experience, that's a really great way to start, because you find these potential users of your application. You start interviewing them and start understanding their needs and motivations and what they're trying to achieve with the solution that you're trying to build. And then as you build, you keep going back to them for feedback, and you're really involving them in the process. And that's it's very magical. um, well, it's also very customer focused, so that will keep you on track with what to build, because if you are able to prioritize what kind of functionality you should build first, that's very valuable. That's going to save you a lot of time. So even when you do your prototype, just based on customer feedback, you understand what is the biggest pain point to solve for first, and what is the main functionality that you need to build first. Then you can do that, and then that's going to just make you move faster and make sure that you're not building anything that's like extraneous that your customer doesn't really need.
Yeah, excellent, Grace. See, it's funny how there just seems to be this, because people who are not part of this industry have this perception that somehow it's all about like building code and playing foosball, and drinking Diet Mountain Dew at the middle of the night, and it's just amazingly social. I mean, that's really like running a product company, especially in today's world with everything being so just all SaaS products. It's a social skill, right? It's about service, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges I see entrepreneurs having. And you guys are obviously great examples of ways to do it right. Grace, thank you so much for your time. This has been informative for me. So for folks that want to learn more about you and your products, where should we send them?
Yeah, go right to javelin.com. So Javelin.com.
Excellent. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Grace. Really great talking to you.
Kevin. Great seeing you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.